Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. We got a fun one prepared today. What we'll be doing is we'll be focusing on our Saturday matchups we have coming up for Week 18 of the 2024 NFL football season. Guys, this is the last week of the NFL regular season. Everything's wrapping up right now. There's a lot of teams sitting players. There's a lot of teams competing for seeding, playoff spots. There's some teams that are just trying to lose just to get a high draft pick. But we're going to break down our two Saturday matchups, try to predict the outcome, who's going to win, who's going to lose, what the final score would be. We'll also touch on the best bets, the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below and we will respond. We're going over every NFL game every single week. We have the playoffs coming up soon. We're also following every single college football game, the bowl games, the playoff games, the first season of the 12-team college football playoff. We are down to our final 4 teams right now. The semifinals coming up next Thursday and Friday. If you're a football fan, there's a lot going on in the world of football this week and next week. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you're a football or just a sports fan in general. But let's go ahead and get started looking at our 2 Saturday games. We have 2 Saturday games. Everything else is going to be on Sunday. There's no Thursday. There's no Monday night games. Kicking things off, the very first Saturday matchup on ESPN, January 4th at 4:30 p.m. We have the 3-13 Cleveland Browns. What an awful season it has been for the Cleveland Browns. They're not necessarily good at anything, but hey, they don't have a bad roster. It's just they have not played together as a team. A lot of issues all stemming from the offensive side, specifically the quarterback position the entire season. When their offense can't get first downs, it leaves the defense on the field the entire game. They get wore out. They have a decent defense. They just can't hang in there for 4 quarters without help from the offense. They have the second worst offense in the NFL right now. They'll be playing the 11-5 Baltimore Ravens. They have no problems on offense. They come in here, the number 3 overall offense in all of college football, and they have Lamar Jackson, who is competing right now for potential back-to-back MVP seasons, his 3rd potential MVP overall in his young career. The guy's putting up video game numbers. Right now, Baltimore, heavy favorites. The biggest spread I've seen in the NFL this season. They have an 89.8% chance to win this game. 17.5-point favorites. The over in here is 42. Vegas has the Ravens just completely curb-stomping the Browns right now. Right now, the Browns, Watson, Winston, they're down to Thomas Robinson right now. He only has 427 yards, 0 touchdowns, 6 picks. 0 touchdowns, 6 picks. That just lets you know where their offensive woes are. They are bad. They have a lot of things they need to do this offseason, mainly focusing on that offense. They need a new quarterback in there. Watson's not going to be the guy next season. They need a new young quarterback, someone that they can groom for the future going forward. Right now, the Browns are averaging 15.5 points per game, 2nd worst in the NFL. They're throwing for 208.3, running for 97. Their defense gives up 25 points a game. Like I said when this video began, they don't have a bad defense, but when you're only averaging 15 points a game, the defense can only keep the other opposing team at bay for so long before they finally bend and break, and the Ravens are definitely going to be lighting it up. The Browns do not have the offense capable of competing and getting into a shootout with the Baltimore Ravens. Right now, looking at Baltimore, obviously they have Lamar Jackson. He's closing in on 4,000 passing yards, 39 passing touchdowns, only 4 picks so far. And to add to that, he also has 4 rushing touchdowns, 43 overall touchdowns this season. He's lighting it up through the air. He's lighting it up on the ground. Right now, they're averaging 30.2 points a game. That is the number 3 overall offense. Throwing for 238.6, running for 185.6. Very balanced on the offensive side. The number 2 rushing offense in the NFL, just barely behind the Eagles. When you can run the ball, you wear out the opposing defense, you control time of possession, you run that score up, that's going to open up that play action. They're only giving up 21.9 points per game. Where their weakness is, they have a pretty questionable secondary. They do give up 248.5 passing yards per game. That used to be just shy of 270, so they are working that number down. The Browns, the way for you to beat the Ravens is through the air, but they just don't have the weapons to do that. They're not going to be able to shoot it out with the Baltimore Ravens. But while their secondary does have question marks, they have no question marks on their defensive line. They're only giving up 81.6 yards on the ground. The number 2 rush defense in the NFL. You can throw on them, but you definitely cannot run on them. Looking at the playmakers here for the Browns, they have Ford, they have Judy, but obviously they don't have a quarterback who can consistently push in the ball. And for the Ravens, their offense is loaded. Derrick Henry just shy of 1,800 yards, might finish this season with 1,900 rushing yards. They have Flowers, Andrews, likely weapons at quarterback. running back, wide receiver, 2 tight ends. There's too much offense here. Lamar Jackson is cruising right now. They already have the playoff clinch. This is just a fun game, put up stat games. We have the Baltimore Ravens winning this one 27-13. We're still going with that plus 17.5, and we're just slightly going to be going with the under. The second and final Saturday matchup we have coming up at 8 p.m. on ESPN. This is going to be a fun game. This is 2 playoff caliber teams. We're going to have the 8-8 Cincinnati Bengals. Started off the season awful, 1-3. They've slowly been chipping their way back to 500. They've been winning. They've been really hot right now, especially their offense. One of the top 5 offenses in the NFL. Joe Burrow leading the NFL in touchdown passes, leading the NFL in passing yards. They can shoot it out with anyone. They can score on anyone. Where their issue is, while they can score on anyone can score on them also. They have an awful defense, but as long as Burrow's there, they have one of the best wide receiver cores. They're going to be able to score here. They're going to be playing the 10-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a Mike Tomlin team. He wants to establish the run game. He wants to play elite playoff defense. They have a great defense, but they are wore out right now. They've been giving up some yards, some points the last 3 to 4 weeks, but we know that they are deep. We know they have a talented defense. We know they're going to try to get as much pressure on Burrow as possible, try to force some errant throws, but that just has not worked for anyone this season. No matter what defense the Bengals have played, they've been able to consistently score almost every single possession. But every game's a shootout. There will be opportunities for the Steelers to push the ball down the field. They don't have the best offense, but the Bengals are so bad on defense, they're going to be able to get some scores here. Right now, the Bengals, they have a 46.4% chance to win this game. It's the Steelers coming in here, 53.2% chance, but the Bengals are the Vegas favorites. 1.5 point favorites over here is 48.5. This game's practically a 50-50 pick 'em. And we definitely see why. Steelers, they have their path to the playoffs. The Bengals have to win this game and have any chance to win the playoffs. They need the Broncos to lose. They have to win this game no matter what. Joe Burrow is going to make sure he puts on a show here. Right now, leading the NFL, 4,700 passing yards, 42 passing touchdowns, 8 picks. If this team had a better record, he would probably be the MVP frontrunner right now. He could still potentially win the MVP, but they're going to need the Broncos to lose. They're going to need him to have any elite game. He's not going to win it, but he's just putting up crazy video game numbers throwing the ball right now. They're throwing for 274.6 yards per game, leading the NFL in passing, running for 94.1, giving up 26.1 points per game. That's where their weakness is their defense. As much as they score, they basically give up a touchdown for a touchdown, but they should have the offensive firepower to be able to keep up and potentially outscore the Steelers. Looking at Pittsburgh, they have Russell Wilson. He's closing in on 2,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks. Russell Wilson himself, he's not going to beat you. He's going to game manage here. Just don't make any mistakes. Don't have any turnovers. If you turn the ball over versus the Bengals, if you give them possessions, they will turn those turnovers into points. We're going to have to see a great, clean game from Russell Wilson. He's going to have to throw for probably 250 to 300 yards to be able to keep up with the Bengals offense. As good as the Steelers defense is, they're going to give up points to the Bengals. Right now, the Steelers are averaging 22.7 points a game, throwing for 196.6, running for 130.8, and their defense is giving up 20.5 points per game. Looking at the playmakers for both teams, obviously the Bengals have Joe Burrow. He's a top 3, top 5 NFL quarterback right now, leading the NFL in passing. They have Chase Brown. He's 10 yards shy of 1,000. He's definitely going to hit 1,000 here. And they have one of the best 1-2 wide receiver punches in the NFL, if not the best. They're up there with the Eagles right now. They have Chase. They have Higgins. Chase leads the NFL in receiving yards. He might get 1,700 this game. They have Higgins there. No matter who you get, there's going to be someone wide open, and you have Burrow slinging the ball. Looking at the Steelers, Najee Harris, he's been a little banged up, but if he's able to get on the field this game, expect a steady dose of Najee Harris. Steelers want to establish the run game, get the time of possession, keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. That's their goal. And then, of course, they have George Pickens. George Pickens was able to play this past week, but George Pickens here, you got to play smart. He's causing a lot of trouble right now. Don't get any flags. Stay out of the head games. He's the third and long guy. He's the guy that Russell Wilson looks to when he needs a first down. This game's going to be close. Every game the Bengals play is always a one-possession win or loss. Same things for the Steelers. No matter who they play, it is always a one-possession win or loss. So we know this game's going to be close down to the end of the fourth quarter. Could come down to that final possession. A turnover at the end could decide the outcome of this game. So what do we have happening? We have the Bengals pulling out a close one. Burrow going down the field, scoring when they needed to end the second half, to end the fourth quarter. They win this one 28-24. to 24. We have them covering that spread, and we're going to go with the over here. So that's just a quick rundown of our Saturday games, 2 Saturday games, 14 Sunday games. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.